Tonight, we're doing something a little different. We're not just telling you a story. No, we're putting you right in the middle of it. We're going to explore that exact moment when the dream of perfect, quiet solitude twists into an absolute nightmare.
Now that horrifying moment, that's actually a story for another time. But it's got the same terrifying DNA as the one we're about to get into. That feeling, that ice in your veins realization that the safe space you're in has already been broken into. So, let's get into it.
Our story tonight doesn't start in some creepy rundown motel. Nope. It starts in one of those places that's designed, for the perfect getaway. A place where the biggest selling point, this idea of privacy, ends up becoming its greatest danger.
Just picture it for a second. You're in Palm Springs, staying in this absolutely stunning modern Airbnb. It's just you and your girlfriend, cool concrete floors, and a private pool that looks like it just stretches right out into the desert. You've booked the perfect private escape. But what the listing doesn't tell you is that absolute privacy also means there is absolutely no one around to hear you scream.
All right, let me ask you something real quick, and I want you to be honest with yourself here.
We all do it, right? Our brains are just wired to come up with these little excuses to keep the scary thoughts away. Because actually admitting to yourself in the dark that that sound might not be the house, well, that's just a little too terrifying to think about.
And for the couple in our story, those first 2 nights were basically a masterclass in fooling themselves, choosing the comfortable lie over the really unsettling truth.
And look how normal these excuses are. A weird thump against the side of the house? Oh, that's just the house settling. A faint voice carried on the breeze? Psh, it's just the desert wind playing tricks. They literally laughed it off, silencing that little part of their brain that was screaming, hey, something isn't right here.
But on the 3rd night, you just couldn't rationalize it away anymore. A motion light in the backyard clicks on, bathing the patio in this cold, sterile light. They wait. 10 seconds of dead, heart-pounding silence. Then, click. Another light flicks on, this one on the side of the house. Then a 3rd one, closer to the pool. This wasn't the wind. This was a path. A silent, deliberate predator was making its way around the perimeter of their cage, and they were stuck inside, watching it happen one light at a time.
Okay, let's pause for a quick and admittedly kind of dark little fact.
It's absolutely true, you know it. 100% of horror movies would be over in 5 minutes if people just stayed inside and called for help. His girlfriend was terrified, begging him to do just that. But, a little bit of ego, a little bit of that I have to protect us feeling, it drove him to make that classic choice that every single person watching screams at the screen not to make.
So, he grabs the biggest kitchen knife he can find, slides open that glass door, and steps out into the overwhelming silence of the desert night. The air is completely still. Nothing.
And then he looks down, and there, pressed into the soft sand, is the one thing he was praying he wouldn't see. Proof.
These weren't animal tracks. They were human. A man's shoe prints. And they made a straight, clear line from the edge of the property right to the closed door of the little pool shed. With his heart hammering in his chest, he followed them.
He's standing maybe 3 feet away from the shed, gripping that knife, just listening. For about 5 seconds, there's nothing, just total silence. And then, from inside the shed, a man's voice. It's perfectly calm, perfectly polite. "Excuse me, could you open the door, please?" And that was followed by this soft, chilling little laugh.
He didn't even think. He just sprinted back into the house, slammed the door shut, locked it, and called 911. And as they're huddled there in the dark, whispering to the dispatcher, those motion lights outside just keep clicking on, and then off, on, and off. A constant, terrifying reminder that the man was still out there, circling the house, just waiting.
It took the police 20 minutes to get there. I mean, can you imagine? An absolute eternity when you're trapped like that. They searched the shed, but of course he was gone. All they found were some empty water bottles and old food wrappers. So the official story became, it was probably just a harmless squatter. And for a minute, the couple actually felt relieved. They thought the nightmare was finally over.
But the real horror of this story wasn't hiding in that shed. No, it was waiting for them right there in the living room. The nightmare wasn't over. It was actually just getting started.
So as they're trying to pack up their things, one of the officers walks back inside and asks this really simple question. A question that just made their blood run cold. They both, of course, said no.
The hat. He'd found it inside the house. It had been shoved deep down, behind the cushions of the living room couch, like someone was trying to hide it.
And in that single moment,
the whole terrifying picture just snaps into focus. The man in the shed, he wasn't trying to get in. He was just waiting for a chance to get back to his hiding spot. He had been inside the house with them the entire time, watching them, listening, maybe even standing over them while they were asleep.
The predator was already there. Those lights going on, that wasn't him arriving. That was him moving around inside. And what makes it even worse? They're frantically messaging the Airbnb host, begging for help, and they can see that their messages are being read and then just ignored. No reply, no apology, just complete silence from the one person who might have had some answers. So it leaves you with this really unsettling thought, doesn't it? About the trust we put in these perfectly curated online experiences. The next time you book that perfect private getaway and you lock the door for the night feeling all safe and secure, just ask yourself, are you locking the danger out, or did you just pay to lock yourself in with it?